Hello, welcome back to the Ask Mike show. Mike here. Welcome to those that are brand new to the podcast. Very, very happy to have you here as well. And someone asked me about my 5 top tips to stay motivated, because motivation can be a difficult topic because people tend to lose steam, if you will, over the long term. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to share my top 5 tips, 5 things that you can do to stay motivated long term. And the first one is something that everyone knows, everyone's aware of, everyone's been told of it over the years, and it's knowing your why. Quite simple, quite straightforward. But I don't just mean your big why. I don't mean that. I mean your little why for the little things that you do. And this is everything down to exercise. Why do you do this? Why do you do that? Why do you do squats? Why do you go for a run? What are the benefits that you get that come down to the why, right? If you don't do it because you get a benefit from it, what are the reasons why? And you've got to follow that. You've got to follow the why. Because what that allows you to do, which I'll get to later on, is it allows you to get more emotional about what you're doing. But knowing the big why and then knowing the small why behind the little things that you are doing day to day. All right. So business wise, it could be interviews, it could be emails, it could be a whole host of different things. All right. So that's number 1. Number 2 is connecting to your why daily. So this just comes down to reminding yourself, because very often you can forget. Very often you can struggle to remind yourself of the reasons why. Because when it gets hard, we question it. When it gets hard, we ask ourselves, why are we even doing this? Why bother? And if you don't have the answer to that, if you're not able to go there and pick out the answer, that is where you will struggle. That is where a lot of the hardship comes from, is not knowing your why to begin with, and then not reminding yourself of that why. And as I said, following down the rabbit hole of the reason why will take you to number 3, which is getting emotional. We tend to do things that make us feel a certain way. And then we feel a certain way that makes us want to do certain things. So when it comes to getting emotional, if it's your big why, you might get very emotional. If it's your small why, maybe not so much. But every little bit of emotion helps you anchor in why you're doing it, what's the purpose of it, what's the emotional reason why, and that will tend to keep you going. That will tend to just remind you that you're doing it for the right reasons, that you're doing it for reasons that are important to you. Importance is real. Importance is special because it's different from person to person. That's why connecting to it, your own personal why, your own personal emotional why will pull you through. Which then leads me on to number 4. Now, number 4 is something that you can connect to, something that you can remind yourself of, something that you can monitor, which is progress. What progress are you making towards whatever it is that you're doing? What is the progress? What steps have you taken? How far have you come? That will help you, because very often we become unmotivated when we don't make any progress, or when we don't think we made any progress. But you might have made progress in a way that you weren't aware of. But unless you can remind yourself of that, unless you can connect to it, get emotional about the progress that you're making, you can forget and you can lose steam when you really shouldn't have, because you have made progress. So the awareness of that can be a big deal, make a big shift in the way that you feel around your goals and your achievements and your level of fulfillment with your progress. Which brings me on to number 5. Fulfillment, progress, emotional. Eventually, you'll start to feel grateful. You'll start to feel gratitude for where you are, where you're going, and gratitude helps you anchor in, because there's a low barrier for entry when it comes to gratitude. That's why everyone can feel it. And if you can get there every day, that's like the keystone or the initial push that you need to be able to feel everything else. Because gratitude is one of the lowest common emotions that are positive that you can actually feel. And that will spark everything else. I hope that made sense. Let me know if you have any other questions. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Subscribe to the show. We love having you here. If you haven't already, make sure you leave a review of the podcast. Love reading the reviews. It's amazing to see everyone loving the show. And I look forward to speaking to you all again very, very soon.